Good Woch. Rishus the Resh Koilel. Now Bezdin. Wanted to thank everybody here for coming tonight. A special thank you to our Melava Malka committee, to the CauseMatch Campaign committee. The people really put in a lot of time and energy. They gave their Lev and Nefesh. David Rine, Dr. Igor Trilisky, Zevi Ashkanazy, Schaffel, Dr. Zirkin, Eli Kalman, Elliot Stine, Mrs. Suzanne Weisberger, as my children affectionately call Grandma Susie. Really a special thank you. Mrs. Weisberger is one of the people that we want to recognize tonight as the people who gave a very significant contribution to the beautiful renovations of the Shul, and yet she still stayed and worked day and night together with everybody else. So really a special thank you to Mrs. Weisberger. Dr. Aronson, Razumowski, Yehuda Rudok, Aviva Aronson, Jeff Grossfeld, Rabbi Mostofsky, Shua Seif, Yakira Gregg, and last but certainly not least, Yoel Bergman. So it's really tremendous what everybody here did. They were able to pull off. In this week's parsha, Yosef brings Ephraim and Menachem to Yaakov to get a bracha. And when Yaakov sees them, he says, Mi Eila. Who are these? Who are these? You learn with Ephraim every day. You're Charusid. What do you mean, Mi Eila? Who are these? So Rashi tells us, Mi Eila, because he sees with Ruach HaKodesh, with Nevuah, he sees Achav, he sees Yeravim and Nevat, Yehu, he sees Rishon. Wicked kings are going to come from these people. How could it be? These wicked kings, these are your children? And so Rashi tells us that Yosef davened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Shechina came back and rested upon Yaakov, and he gave them the bracha. The Netziv asks, what changed? Achav, Yeravim, and Nevat, these wicked kings are still going to come from Ephraim and Menachem. What changed? Why now did Yaakov, why was it okay now to give the bracha? And then the Netziv says an unbelievable idea. So the facts didn't change, but the pasuk says, "Vayishak lahem, vayichabik lahem." He brought Ephraim and Menachem, vayishak lahem. He kissed them, vayichabik lahem. Asks the Netziv, why did it say vayishak lahem? It should have said vayichab came, vayinash came. What's the lahem? And so the Netziv tells us that Yaakov Avinu was testing Ephraim and Menachem. He wanted to test them. He went ahead. He put his right hand on Ephraim, which was the younger one. Let's see what Menachem, how he's going to react. Let's see how he's going to react to that. Are they still going to kiss each other? Vayishak lahem, vayichabik lahem is not just referring to Yaakov kissing Ephraim and Menachem, but he wanted to see if Ephraim and Menachem are going to remain silent. Are they going to remain silent? Ephraim, he's giving Ephraim the right hand. A little later on in the conversation, he says, "Achiv hakoton yigdal mimenu." He tells Yosef, the smaller brother, "Achiv hakoton Ephraim." He refers to him as hakoton, like we say at a bris, "Zeh hakoton gadol yiyah." He's small. He's a child. That's belittling Ephraim. Calling him a koton. Let's see how Ephraim is going to react. And yet, they remain silent. They remain silent. They take it. They take it. This is what Yaakov did. This is what it's supposed to be. And they accept it. They accept what Yaakov is doing. If they could accept what Yaakov is doing and they don't feel insulted and hurt, and they could kiss each other and they could still hug each other, then they're ready for brachas. Rickey Rothner brings the following story. There's a sefer in Hilchos Shabbos. Anybody who learns Hilchos Shabbos knows the sefer Iglei Tal. Iglei Tal is a sefer. Anybody who wants to go in depth into Hilchos Shabbos studies the sefer Iglei Tal. The Iglei Tal was a great Rav, a Rosh Yeshiva. He was Marbitz Torah. He gave shiurim around the clock. People flocked from all over to come hear the shiurim from the Iglei Tal. Later on in his life, the Iglay Tal lost his ability to speak. He wasn't able to speak. And instead of breaking, instead of being miyayish and giving up hope, and say, that's it, my whole life is down the tubes, what does Iglay Tal do? He produces the Iglay Tal. He puts all his koiches into the Sefer Iglay Tal. And that's why the Sefer Iglay Tal had so much bracha, why it's so accepted universally around the world for all the generations. Because he accepted this gezerah from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he took it, and he put all his koiches into it. He didn't just give up. And when I saw this story, I thought about tonight's honorees. Rabbi David, Rabbi Dr. Dovid, Mrs. Fruma Montrose. Tonight's honorees. Having a conversation a few weeks ago with somebody, and I was telling him who's the honoree. I told him it's Dr. Montrose. He told me the only reason Bais Yitzchok is still around today is because of Dr. Montrose. That's why we're here today. That's why we're able to go have these beautiful renovations, and we're here today. It's because of the amelus, all what Dr. Montrose put into the shul. His concern for everybody. Dr. Montrose, I don't know if we're aware, is a tremendous Talmud Chacham. We once at the Kollel dinner, we gave out a set of Svarim that Dr. Montrose put out on the entire Shas, Psukim, the translations of all the Psukim on the entire Shas. He always stood up for Kavod HaTorah. It came to the security of the shul, security of the community. He was on the forefront. At the forefront, I remember there was Sukkot nights. Dr. Montrose disappeared going around the streets. He was more so concerned. There were people that had candles in their house. Remember that, Dr. Montrose? People had candles in the house with babies sleeping in the house, and people were out in the sukkah. He was so worried about it, going around from house to house, sukkah to sukkah. Nobody should be in sakana. It's such obvious Yisroel. I mean, his magical waters, I used to kid him, it came from the Be'er Shel Miriam. He would cure people with his magical waters. And during COVID, Dr. Montrose became ill. He didn't just give up. He wasn't miyayish, just like the Iglay Tal. He didn't throw the towel and said, that's it. My whole career is down. He keeps steiging. He didn't get depressed. He'd always see him with a smile on his face. It's such a chizik to us. The way he davens, he comes to shul every day. He comes on Shabbos in the cold, in the hot, it doesn't make a difference. Every night he does a Yerushalmi shir. Here, he's following along. He's Yerushalmis. He's not constantly steiging. And it's all a simcha. And he's the same loving husband, the same loving father, the same loving grandfather, just accepting that he has a different role now in his avodas Hashem. And from there comes bracha. Accepting what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing and accepting it. That's where the bracha comes from. One of the most beautiful peiros that Rabbi Dr. David and Mrs. Fruma Montrose produced is their son, Rabbi Yaakov, over here sitting. He's a Rosh Kollel, a Mechaber Svarim. We here at Bais Yitzchok were many times nana from his shiurim that he's given here. Shal Shudis. It's really a coverage for us to call upon Rabbi Yaakov Montrose to say a few words.
Well, I have to say that after Elenka's beautiful words, reminds me of a story that Ephraim Gimblet, Mr. Ephraim, told me personally. He had a lot of shaykhs with Rav Shach and the Stipler. And he told me that when he would go to the Stipler, he would speak to the Stipler directly. It's very well known that when people go to the Stipler b'derech klal, he would ask them to write a note. So he told me that one time Rav Shach asked him, Ephraim, when you go to the Stipler, does he talk to you and just directly, or you have to write a note? He said, he talks to me directly. He said, me too. He said, he hears what he wants to hear. I'll tell you, last trip I was here, where I was with my father, and he reached out his hand to me. He said, I do the things that I want. But I can tell you many times, there's many things that he does say, here and there, can hear it to who he wants to say to. But I trying to start out by saying that, really, we were zeichen to come here, move down the block over here to Whipple. And I remember right away we started coming to the Shul on Friday nights. I would walk with my father and Rabbi Rine Zatzal. Back from Rine, he always tells us right on the parsha. And he'd always leave us with the words, "I'm sorry, I have to go. My wife is expecting." Every Friday night. But, really, a person's home, where they see what's chashuv in life, that's one of the major factors of how they grow up, who they become. And really, that started with my father's father, my Zevi. I'll just mention one story. It's a public story. I only found out about it after he was nifter. It's not surprising because my Zevi was very much someone who was Mekayim the Pasuk, Yahucha Zerv Picha. He never talked about himself, his own gadlus. But when he was young, he was in Skokie Yeshiva, and he was taking night classes at Roosevelt College. So he was taking this class for credits, voice lessons, and I guess involved maybe some acting, some face. And he was a very handsome, charismatic person with a great voice. And unbeknownst to him, his teacher, a friend who was a talent agent on Broadway, and he called a guy from New York to say, "Come down to see my Zevi." My Zevi didn't know about it. He was observing my Zevi. So he comes to this teacher and he says, "I'm going to offer him a massive contract to be a Broadway actor." And this is in the 50s. The Chap is right after the Holocaust. I personally heard the previous Minsker Rebbe say, you have to realize that the situation at that time was people were Messiah from Yiddishkeit. They didn't think it was going to continue. The Orthodoxy was mamish like not popular at all. And so this person came, told the teacher. The teacher came to my Zevi and he said, "Listen, this person right now is willing to offer you a massive contract to be the next big Broadway actor. And I'm going to quit my job," he said, "here, teaching. I'm going to move to New York with you. And I'll be your agent. And we'll make a lot of money. Right away, we'll sign a contract. But I didn't have money. And he said, "But I want to be a rabbi." They looked at him like he said, "I want to be an Eskimo." It's like, what are you talking about? This happened to have a lifetime, And he said, "I want to be a rabbi. I want to be someone who's mashpia on other people, ruchnius." The guy thought he was posh crazy. They both thought he was just nuts. But the Maisa, that's a dugma of somebody who Shogu was chashuv to him, not money. It was mashpia on other people in ruchnius. That's what my father saw growing up. And that's what I saw from my father. That's, in life, the home, it's not what a parent says to do, it's what a parent does. There's pshat in the psukim by Ben Sarah Mer. It says that they take the child to Bais Yitzchok, he doesn't listen to our voice. I think it's a very strong diuk. But my first day for Yisroel, that it says they don't listen to our voice, but the kids looking exactly what they're doing in life. Who's this person who married a Ben Sarah Mer, who has Ben Sarah Mer? Someone who married an Eish Tzvas Torah. Meaning the Torah says, don't marry a Yifas Torah, but it'll matter for you. He says, what's stronger, what Hashem really wants or my taivas? My taivas. And then he ends up hating her, like the Torah says afterwards. Then he has Ben Sarah Mer. So he tells his son, Moshe will be a good boy. Moshe will learn Torah. And the Moshe was sitting there saying, okay, listen, Dad, who are you? You're somebody who says taivas are more important than Ratzon Hashem, right? Says, he doesn't listen to the lectures, but he knows exactly what the Father is doing. And that's what talks louder than all the words in the world. That's what chinuch really is. It's being an example, a dugma, through your actions, which speak much louder than words, any words a parent say. So, I heard from Rabbi in Bekshemesh, Chido Dutch, Shlita. He said, the name of the previous Belzer Rebbe, that in Hallel we say, Yosef Hashem Aleichem, Aleichem V'al Benechem. It's a very strange wording in the Pasuk. The just say, Yosef Hashem Aleichem V'al Benechem. Why say a second time, Aleichem V'al Benechem? He said the pshat is because when a father is someone who is wanting ruchnius, he acquires ruchnius, then it automatically goes Aleichem V'al Benechem. Meaning Hashem is Moisef Aleichem, and the people. Then the next part of the pasuk is saying, and Aleichem, whatever you've acquired, goes easier Al Benechem, almost automatically on the children. So it's something which the dugma of a person, of what they do, their actions, really automatically give the ability for a child to acquire much more easily any ruchnias acquisitions that they have. So my father, Baruch Hashem, here in Bais Yitzchok, like the Rav was saying, and the truth is, the Rav knows much more than I do. I remember something I remember from the olden days, of course, giving of his time and his smile and his warmth to everybody, and mamish being an Arna Kayan in his whole life, his job of being a therapist for marriages and for all kinds of things, and mamish, the ikr was the mitzvah, not so much the money. It's always like that with him. The ikr is the Ratzon Hashem. And it's something that Chor was a dugma of Arna Kayan, wanting people to feel happy, bring them together, join them to a kehillah. But at the same time, he also would do the Ratzon Hashem even when it wasn't so pleasant. Baruch Hashem, you can't tell nowadays. Nowadays, Baruch Hashem, I was here for davening this morning, Baruch Hashem, no talking at all, Baruch Hashem. But I can tell you, listen, over 40 years of a shul, it could be that maybe here and there was tkufas where there was a lot of talking. And I remember them very clearly. And I remember my father put an end to it. How did he do that? He was the gabbai by Kriyas Torah. And if people would be talking during Kriyas Torah, which of course, unfortunately, people don't realize, the Aruch HaShalom says talking during Kriyas Torah is the same thing as talking during Shemona Esrei. No difference. This mom is that chomer. But unfortunately, people don't know. So he would mamish stop the Balkari and glare at whoever was talking. And I remember this happened quite often. And sometimes people would continue for a few seconds until they, there was some gross in the conversation. They didn't realize that the whole kehillah was stopping for them. And finally they looked at it, and then I thought I was just looking at them. And trust me, that did not win popularity contests. And I was the son of the person not winning the popularity contest for that. So I definitely felt it, I wasn't getting, those happy looks anymore from those people. But the pshat is, that's what you have to do in life. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Arnakei. CauseMatch Campaign says that Dafka it says Pinchas ben Elazar ben Arnakei because he did a ma'aseh kanais that Klal wasn't happy with. But Teres Megala that he was ben Arnakei. He had the same midas of Arnakei. At the time he was doing the ma'aseh kanais. Never left him. Just sometimes Hashem asks you to do one thing, to do chesed, help people. Sometimes he asks you to stop people talking, Krister. And we have to do whatever Hashem wants. The Ratzon Hashem is dhikr. It's not always to be nice and pleasant. Arayis is also called chesed. Sometimes chesed is giving without boundaries. Sometimes a person is not supposed to give. It's a ma'aseh of chesed that's not a good ma'aseh of chesed. Like being very friendly with the wrong people is very bad. It's Yagba Yahweh, actually. So a person has to realize that the ikar in life is doing Ratzon Hashem. Whenever a person comes to any point in life, they're not sure what to do. Hey, what's Ratzon Hashem? It's not automatically to be pleasant. Not automatically. Right? The default, the Chazon Sofer says that Aaron HaKohen, just like he used to bring people together and make shalom, if he saw a chabur of Rishoyim getting together with another chabur of Rishoyim, and they would get together, they cause a lot of havoc and averis in the world, he would go over to one of them and say, you know, they really don't like you. It's not going to work out. He would break them up. Because that's what you have to do. Ratzon Hashem. Ratzon Hashem is the ikar. That's what's kaveh. The Rabbi Novitz says, he knew a Ramam boy. What does he do as a kanoi? Some people think kanoi is a bad word. It's Pinchas was a kanoi also. He saved Klal Yisrael. He saved mamash a quarter of Klal Yisrael from dying. But by his ma'aseh. Now, of course, it has to be done properly. So he said there's two secrets to being a real kanoi, an emes kanoi, meaning a kanoi that's fulfilling Ratzon Hashem. This one is you have to do a lot of chesed. A lot of chesed. Meaning, you have to have archim. You have to, Rabbi Boy was Yidua, someone who had tons of guests in his house. Right? I pay my parents also for years. There's so much, by the way. What we're saying over here is mamish mikzah shvachei. It's like mikzah shvachei. There's so much chesed that they do. It's like an aberration. But just a little bit, I'll say, is that Pashat, they used to have all kinds of guests in their house for years on Shabbos. Feel like no one would invite. That kind of chesed, that's what Rabbi Boy used to do also. And he says, also you have to have a Rav. My father was always close to all the Rabbanim. Not just in this shul, also in general. And, he mamish is a Meikir Rabbanim, very much mechabed, and with the bin, of any Rav trying to do Ratzon Hashem in the shul. And, it's one of these things, when you see that growing up, you realize how important that is to do what Hashem wants in life, not necessarily what wins you the popularity contests, and not necessarily what wins you, chanifa, flattery from people. Even though, like I said, when the root is Aaron HaKohen was known as someone who all of Bnei Yisrael were beicha for. Because even though here and there he did things like the Chazon Sofer said, but overall, everyone understood. He wants to do good for everybody all the time. Get the shirt off his back for people. But you have to always realize that's in the framework of Ratzon Hashem. Doing what's right. And doing what's wrong can never supersede Ratzon Hashem, even if it's nicer. It's very much like the Rav said. I told my father, and because the Rav mentioned it, I'll say it also. Now, a different stage in life, and so many people have come to me and said how the chizik they get from him. I told him I think that more people get chizik from him now than before. But Shach famously said that a person doesn't ask for Yisurim, but if they do get it, and Makav Ba'ava, it's worth millions of dollars in Shemayim. It's worth millions of dollars. And the chizik people get from it, you couldn't do it any other way. Now Hashem chose him for this tafkid, and he's doing it unbelievable. If a person's thinking in the winter here in Chicago that she got out of bed for minyan, and they know that he gets out of bed for minyan, how can you not get out of bed for minyan? Right? And you don't even know the half of what goes into him getting to minyan. I'm telling you that also. Right? It should be really a chizuk for everybody, not just for men, for women also. It's a matter of sometimes we feel like we don't want to put in the effort to do a certain mitzvah, do ma'asim tovim. If you realize there's people, you see role models of people that work very hard, do mitzvahs, do ma'asim tovim. So you see, I can also work very hard. Person said, "Tell him Okim." Now Shchaim says, "Okim is Baal Peches Kulam." Person has the ability to do anything. Really puts mind to it. That's what your rotzen is. Like well said, and everything Rotzen, the person really wants, and Rotzen doesn't mean I want. You know, if you say I want to be a doctor and you don't go to medical school, then you don't want to be a doctor. Right? Want means that this is what I'm putting my purpose and nefesh into. I'm going to do this. Right? With the Kadosh Baruch Hu's help, you daven for it. You daven for it. You daven for it. Yishma Nesrei. You mamish thinking how to do it. Do it, and Ruchnias especially, you do from Yisroel Salanter, that tefillah and Ruchnias is always answered. If you want to do something, in Ruchnias, Hashem will help you do it. So, my bracha to my parents, really, and Mama, my mother, who was always really the force behind everything here. Very much so. You know, all the time in the show also, dealing with all the people, you know, that, and again, there was kufas that were not so simple, like the Rav alluded to, keeping the show open. I'll tell you the truth, I'll make a confession even. Make a confession. Once I'm here, I have to show you a chance. That'll just play out tomorrow, so no one will bother me about it. So.
Now, at the same time, as the Rav said, that we're also here to acknowledge the contribution of others that had helped to make this whole Channukas Habayis really possible. So we also have a gift to present to Shua Seif, who really, thanks to him, he kicked off this whole Channukas Habayis project. Shua Seif? So we have here, we're presenting the Birkas HaEsek, showing the beautiful Aron that thanks to Shua's generous contribution we were able to build in the Shul. And it's presented to Mr. Shua Seif in recognition of the gift of the Aron Kodesh in memory of your grandfather, Mr. Norman Seif, Olav Shalom. May you merit to see the fruits of the bracha inscribed herein, leading to further growth and success in all of your endeavors. May you be a source of nachas and bracha for your parents, grandparents, and all of Klal Yisrael. Amen.
Hey guys, I want to share a few words, if I may. I'm not the best public speaker, so I took some notes. I want to answer a question that I have. I think some of you guys have asked me the same thing. Can you hear me? Is that any better? Cool. For those of you that do know me, which I know plenty of people in the room, it's good to be back here at this building, and Shul has a lot of really positive memories for me. For those of you that don't know me, nice to meet you. I'm pretty removed from Orthodoxy, to be quite frank, and I think some people asked me and said, why would you donate an Aron Kodesh? Is it just for your dad? Or, you know, like, yes, that's part of it. I love the fact that when he comes to Shul, he gets to see his son's name, his father's name. I think that's really awesome. So thank you, Pops. It's good to do that for you. But I want to go a little bit deeper. I don't know how many of you guys were super aware of, I think it was probably around the year 2000 or so. There was a massive influx or explosion of kids going off the derech here in Chicago. I think our circle had maybe 100 people in it, between a 10-year range. I would say a lot of the outcomes were not very good. I think the yeshiva system, the shul system, and just overall, it was a rough period of time. I looked at a picture recently, and it was me and 4 of my friends, and I'm the only one still alive from that picture. Correct. But I was thinking, and the reason I want to say this here, specifically because of the show, is that growing up from, I think, the religion and the culture are completely intertwined, and therefore, if you don't work out in the system or whatever, and you're gone, you end up losing your entire culture as well. You end up losing your community. And I remember a lot of friends, basically, as soon as they started being a little bit irreligious, they couldn't show up to Shul anymore. Their father would be embarrassed to take them to Shul, or they would come to Shul and every single person would be like, where's your hat? Where's your this? I can tell you that I do not have a single memory of that happening to me here in this Shul. No matter where I was going through and becoming, finding my own path, everyone here always treated me with dignity and respect. And frankly, I think that's one of the reasons why I still have connection to Judaism, period. And I think it's one of the reasons why I'm still alive. So I want to acknowledge the Shul and the community for being there for me. And the message that I want to share with you guys, and I'm sure people are still going through this with their kids or grandkids now. I guess we've all gotten a little older. Please, no matter, I see more black hats when, about the Shul than it used to be. Please, and it's lovely, and that's great. Please make sure that this Shul always remains a safe space for those that aren't quite as firm as you. You don't realize that it can legitimately save lives. Thank you for hearing me speak. I appreciate it, and congratulations to the Montrose family. You guys are really good people, so well deserved. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So, and additionally, the Shul wanted to recognize the contribution of Mrs. Weisberger. Very, very important. Right. Mrs. Weisberger asked that I say on her behalf a few words. So this is in Mrs. Weisberger's own words. I am honored to be here before you today. My late husband Eli and I have been long-time members of Bais Yitzchok. He had been a member of the board for many years, and when he could no longer be on the board, that was when I stepped up and joined the board so that I can continue to give to the Shul that is so dear and close to mine and my late husband's hearts. Everything I had done, do, and will do for the Shul is in the memory of my husband, as well as for the memory of the late Rabbi Rine, whose yahrzeit was today. Many years ago, Rabbi Rine came over to me and said, Susie, you see how I always make a point of going over to the people I know, and in particular to the people I do not know, so that Bais Yitzchok should be known as the friendly and Hamish Shul. There's going to be a time when I won't be able to do that, so I am passing on that duty to you. And I hope to be blessed to do that for many more years. And there may be a time that I will pass on that torch as well. On that note, I would like to recognize David Rine, how 2 days after my husband Eli passed away, he came over and offered to say Kaddish for him so that this way I would get to hear and answer amen to that Kaddish. Rabbi Rine, I am sure, is dwelling from all the good that David does, not just for the Shul, but for others in need as well. Thank you all for coming to join us in recognizing the important contribution in years of service that Rabbi Dr. David Montrose, who, by the way, was the mashgiach at my wedding 50 years ago, has given to the Shul. We have raised our families together, and I'm grateful to the Montrose family for looking after me as a member of their own family. To all of you who are with us tonight, including those who are not here tonight, whether I have known you only for a few months or 50 years, I want to give you my sincere hakaras hatov for all you have done to enrich Eli's life and the kindness and compassion these last 4 years with the Shabbos and Yom Tov invitations, giving me a special shtetl to enhance my davening, adopting me as part of your family to share family simchas, taking care of me during my 2 bouts of COVID, and always showing me that I am on your minds. It fills my heart with joy, knowing I have such dear and close friends as you. I also wish to express hakaras tov as well to Rabbi Langer and his Rebbetzin, to Rabbi Perlstein and to Rabbi Weinberg and Lubavitch Mesivta, who enriched Eli's life, and to Rabbi Crandall for making me a part of the Chai Lifeline family, which has impacted and will continue to impact my life forever. I would also like to thank Rabbi Aaron Wolf for all that he does for me in the Chicago Mitzvah campaign. Thank you all for giving me purpose and meaning in life. May we only see bracha and nachas from all that we do. Amen.